Hello everyone, in this video, I'm gonna show you an awesome Bard-Paladin build that can handle pretty much anything. You'll be dealing a ton of damage with those sweet smites and flourish abilities. Plus, you can cast spells to take control of a situation with some crazy high DC. And when you're outside of combat, you'll be the face of your party, talking your way out of everything. So here's the plan. Grab 2 levels into Paladin for Divine Smite, then dive deep into the Bard to get the most benefit out of it. By the time you hit level 12, you get your level 6 spell slots like any other full spellcaster. Most importantly, lots of spell slots for those lovely Smite spells. Alright, let's dive into the build. For starters, I suggest kicking off your character as a Paladin. To unleash the full potential of this spell, you need at least 2 levels in Paladin and 6 in the Bard. If you start with 2 Paladin levels, then switch to the Bard. Keep in mind that you won't get the extra attack until you hit character level 8. The College of Swords Bard gets their extra attack at level 6, and level 8 is a little bit too late. If you decide to start as a Bard, you find yourself a bit short on weapon and armor proficiency, holding you back as you build up a character. My advice is to stick to a single class until you hit level 8, and then make a respec into Paladin 2 and Bard 6. This is how you do a multi-classing. It often works best with a respec rather than natural leveling. So let's go with the Paladin. Starting with Paladin grants us proficiency in all weapons and armor, significantly boosting our flexibility when it comes to equipment choices. Additionally, we gain access to Late on Hand, Divine Sense, and a Channel Oath charge. For subclasses, I recommend going with the Oath of Vengeance, because you gain access to Inquisitor's Mind that you can cast on yourself or on an ally to deal an additional 2 radiant damage and possibly daze the enemy. This uses your bonus action and requires no concentration. You can buff yourself and attack an enemy in the same turn. On top of that, being a Paladin of Vengeance also allows you to do the evil stuff without breaking your oath. You know, oath breaking can be somewhat annoying in this game. For stats, I like to use a 2-handed weapon in this spell, so we'll be focusing on Strength, Constitution, and Charisma. Strength affects your attack and damage rolls when it comes to melee combat. Constitution affects your hit points and concentration saving throws, and Charisma affects your spell DC and ability checks using Charisma, such as Persuasion, Intimidation, etc. We have to dump Dexterity, which means our initiative will be a bit low when it comes to combat. Of course, you can make a Dexterity build that uses finesse weapons to solve the problem, but I like to use a 2-handed weapon to slash everything, so it depends on your choice. For skill proficiency, I'll take Athletic, Deception, and Persuasion. If you go with the Dexterity build, you can pick Sleight of Hand. On level 2, we're sticking with the Paladin and unlocking the Mighty Divine Smite. It deals 2d8 radiant damage and an extra 1d8 damage against fiends and undead. You can upcast this ability and gain additional 1d8 damage per level. You get the option to use it actively or as a reaction. Personally, I like using it as a reaction and checking all the boxes to take control of every situation, but feel free to tweak it to your liking. On top of that, we gain access to level 1 spell. Bless is a really awesome spell for early games. For the fighting style, we're going with Great Weapon Fighting. It lets you reroll your damage dice when you roll a 1 or 2 for a weapon attack using a 2-handed weapon. At level 3, we dip into the Bard class, cause the Divine Smite from the Paladin is all we need. We can choose 2 cantrips, and feel free to choose whatever you like, as it won't make a huge difference in this build. For spells, I recommend go with Long Strider, which increases a creature's movement speed by 3 meters. It is a ritual spell, and you can cast ritual spells outside of combat without expanding a spell slot, so 3 movement speeds for everyone. Speak with Animal is another excellent choice, leveraging your high charisma scores to communicate with animals effectively. While Feather 4 is a bit situational, it can prove quite useful sometimes. As for other spells, the choice is yours. Pick those that align with your style, and you get to choose another skill to be proficient in. I recommend choosing the one that falls into the Charisma category. Bard level 2, we get access to Jack of all trades. This allows you to add your proficiency bonus to ability checks that you are not proficient in, which means you always have a +1 on skill checks that you are not proficient in, and when you reach level 9, it becomes +2, making it really strong ability outside of combat. Additionally, we gain Song of Rest, which functions as a short rest, and now you can take 3 short rests in a day. And if you have characters like Fighter, Monk, and Warlock in your party, they could benefit a lot from it. At Bard level 3, we get to choose our subclass, and of course we're going with the College of Swords. You gain access to these powerful Flourish abilities powered by your Bardic Inspiration, and all of them come with a melee and ranged version. You can benefit from these abilities no matter what your style is. Slashing Flourish allows you to attack up to 2 enemies at once, and the ranged attack even permits you to attack the same enemy twice, although it's uncertain whether it's intended or just a bug. Defensive Flourish increases your armor class by 4 when successfully hitting an enemy, greatly enhancing your survivability. With Mobile Flourish, you can push your target back 6 meters and subsequently teleport to the target, fairly useful for a ranged build, offering both control and mobility. Keep in mind that all of these abilities add the Bardic Inspiration dice to the damage output, and they're getting better with your dice increasing. You can also choose a fighting style. If you're dual wielding, just take the 2-weapon fighting. When it comes to spells, I strongly recommend emphasizing enchantment and illusion spells for a strategic reason. In the later acts of the game, we'll come across a significant item called the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel. This remarkable ring allows you to cast enchantment or illusion spells as a bonus action, and I'll talk about it later in this video. Given the setup, we're taking the whole person an enchantment spell for later use. At Bard level 4, we got to choose our first feat, and we're going with Savage Attacker. When you use melee weapon attacks, you can roll your damage dice twice and use the highest results, giving you advantage on your damage rolls, which is a necessity for melee characters in my opinion. You can also choose another cantrip and spell. Feel free to ignore them, because none of them matters. Moving on to Bard level 5, we unlock Font of Inspiration. This allows us to regain all Bardic Inspiration after a short rest. You can now expend all your Bardic Inspiration in a single encounter or even within a turn, and then simply take a short rest to replenish them all. You also have an extra short rest compared to other classes. Moreover, your Bardic Inspiration increases to 1d8, and your allies can benefit from its effect when spending a Bardic Inspiration. However, I recommend saving all the Bardic Inspiration for your Flourish abilities. For spells, Hypnotic Pattern is a really excellent CC spell. Once the foes fail a Wisdom saving throw, they'll be taken out of the fight for 2 turns. Bard level 6 is when the spell starts to shine. We gain extra attack, and now we can attack twice in 1 turn. We also gain Counter Charm, which could be really helpful in specific situations. For spell choice, I recommend taking Fear. You can force a group of folks to drop their weapon if they fail a Wisdom saving throw. At Bard level 7, we gotta choose another spell, nothing crazy. At Bard level 8, we're choosing our second feat, and we're picking the Great Weapon Master. When you're wielding a 2-handed weapon, you deal an additional 10 damage at the cost of -5 penalty on attack rolls. You can toggle this on and off, and when you land a critical hit or kill a target with a melee weapon attack, you can make another melee weapon attack as a bonus action. This is a really powerful feat if you manage to offset the penalty on your attack rolls, but don't worry, we got you covered. During Act 2, you can obtain this risky ring in the Moonrise Tower that grants you advantage on your attack rolls but receives disadvantage on all your saving throws. By using this ring, you have a much better chance of landing your attacks with the Great Weapon Master feat toggled on. However, you'll be prone to fail your saving throws. Or you can use the Glove of the Growling Underdog that grants advantage on attack rolls while surrounded by 2 or more enemies. At Bard level 9, we unlock level 5 spells, and Whole Monster is unquestionably the best choice. It is also an enchantment spell. With the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, you can cast this spell with a bonus action, which is insane. To get this item, you need to go to the Circus of the Last Day in Rivington, where you need to win the Jin's game, and he's using a ring to cheat. By stealing his ring, you can win the lottery. This will upset the Jin, and he'll teleport you to the jungle. This ring can be found in a skeleton, and it allows you to cast enchantment or illusion spells as a bonus action after hitting a creature, hence why I recommend focusing on enchantment and illusion spells. After you loot this item, use the portal to get out of the area. By the way, you can also loot an amazing item in the chest by the portal. Bard level 10, our Bardic Inspiration increases to 1d10, and we get to choose 2 extra skills to become proficient in. Just choose what you need most. More importantly, we gain magical secrets, which allow us to choose 2 extra spells from any class across the game. You even have access to Banishing Smite that no classes have in this game. For me, I'll definitely take the Banishing Smite, which deals 5d10 force damage and possibly banish your target. The Conjure Elemental is a great choice as well, and you can upcast this spell with a level 6 spell slot to summon an Elemental Myrmidon. Counter spell is also fantastic, that allows you to stop enemies from casting spells. Haste is one of the most overpowered spells in this game. If you take Haste, make sure you don't use the risky ring, as it increases the likelihood of breaking concentration. Ultimately, the decision on these spells comes down to personal preference, as none of them significantly impacts the gameplay as long as we have smite spells at our disposal. And now, let's take a look at the gear. There are some incredible items that can significantly enhance this spell, such as the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. Whenever you do damage with weapon attacks, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. Arcane Acuity grants a +1 bonus to your spell attack rolls and DC per turn remaining. Say you hit a foe twice, you have 4 stacks of Arcane Acuity and gain a +4 bonus on your spell DC and spell attack rolls. You can have up to 7 stacks, and when you do, your spells become nearly impossible to resist. Really powerful, even a bit broken. For cloaks, there's just not viable options. Use whatever you have available. For armor, I recommend using heavy armor, cause they tend to have better armor class. For the early game, you can go with the Adamantine Splint armor or the Reaper's Embrace. Upon reaching Act 3, you can swap it with the armor of Persistence. The Glove of Dexterity can help you with initiative by setting your dexterity scores to 18 if you are using a string-based spell, cause these spells tend to have lower dexterities. For boots, I recommend the Disintegrating Nightwalker that grants you Misty Step and also protects you from falling prone on an ice surface. When it comes to rings, the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel and a Risky Ring might be the only combination, and there's simply no replacement for it. The Band of the Mystic Scoundrel allows you to cast enchantment or illusion spells as a bonus action after hitting an enemy. The Risky Ring provides advantage on your attack rolls, which offsets the penalty from the Great Weapon Master, but you have disadvantage on all your saving throws. Just keep in mind. As far as weapons go, you'll be sticking with the Helmet of Vigilance most of the time. You can obtain this item pretty early in Moonrise Tower during Act 2. Later on, you can replace it with the Balduran's Giant Slayer, which is the best two-handed weapon in this game. You can use the Deathshot for your ranged weapon, as it improves your critical hits by lowering the number by 1. When it comes to combat, you can simply jump in and smite everything. Along with your Flourish ability, you're going to dish out a ton of damage. After the first turn, you should be stacking up quite a few Arcane Acuity buff, which means your DC becomes insanely high. For the next round, you can either choose to keep slashing or to cast a control spell. Thanks to the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, you can cast these spells as a bonus action. Whole Person and Whole Monster are absolutely my favorite, cause when enemies are affected by these spells, you have guaranteed critical hits against them when you attack them within melee range. Really strong combo. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and consider subscribing to this channel for more interesting builds and combat tactics. I'll catch you guys in the next video.